everyone, my name is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today I'm going to tie a little buzzer pattern, a little chironomid merger. Great little pattern. The style is really well known in Europe, in the UK. I've been using it on and off here in British Columbia and Alberta for several years now, and it's been quite successful. So, without further ado, let's go camera. There you go. So this is this is what we're going to be tying right here. All right. So fairly simple pattern. It's small. This is going to be tied on a Hook-Hends BL700 size 12. I'll tie them in a 12, 14, and a 16. For the body, I will be using the Semperfli ice dubbing in black. For the rib, I'm going to be using the Semperfli mirror tinsel in Mirage, the small, 1/69th. It's really small. And then I'm going to add, on this one, I'm going to add a little bit of a tail, like a spent tail. So it's just one little, it's going to have two little strands of, it's just a flashaboo is all it is. It's just a white cream flashaboo, or clear if you've got it. And then for the little gill plate, if you want to call it that, right? This is Semperfli's synthetic jungle cock, hot orange, in this extra small. So it's just basically like it's synthetic. It's just like a printed. I've got jungle cock, but the small stuff, the really small, good for the buzzers, I don't have hardly any left. So I'm just going to do it this way. And then for the thread, I'm just using black Nanosilk. So just get my thread waxed here. Just going to run it all the way down to about where the barb would be, roughly. Nip off my tying silk. Come back, can be open wraps, doesn't matter. It's not one of the ones where you're using the thread as the body, right? Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm using a little piece of Booby foam as well. I just kind of rounded the eyes there, and I've made a bit of a tie-in point there. So I'm going to have this facing this way. Bit of a tie-in point right there. Just loosely grab it with a couple of turns, and then once I've got it, I'll tighten that up. Again, with this Nanosilk, make sure you flatten your thread out when you're using this kind of stuff, because you will cut this foam quite easily. And it's okay that I'm building up a little bit here, because I do want a bit of a thorax area. So, and if I do it with this, that's fine. If I don't, then I'll do it with the dubbing. So just make sure this is sitting right on top, you see, just like that. You want that right on top there. And again, if it's not all the way tied down, it's not, again, it's not a massive deal, but you can, some guys will like putting some crazy glue right there. It's going to take one or two turns in front, a couple of turns back. So now I'm going to stop about there, and I'm going to take my mirror tinsel here, nip it off here because it's got a little bent on me. Like I said, this is really small, right? So it's just just a little rib. Oops. See if I can catch that. There we go. So now I just pull that to there. Again, flatten up my thread. Just a habit when you're using these Nanosilks and GSPs. Just flatten out your thread every once in a while. Just give them a good spin, right? You don't have to, but it's a good habit to get into, especially when you're using materials that can get cut quite easily. So now I'm going to take a bit of this dubbing, the ice dubbing in black. It's just straight black ice dubbing, and it's these long fibers. But when you dub this on, actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back off because it dubs on nice, but it dubs on even nicer if you put a little bit of wax. and he's got these nice long fibers. So this ice dubbing is good for all kinds of stuff, but it works really well for this as well. So even though you don't need the long fibers, it wraps around the thread really nicely this way. I'm just gonna shorten up my thread so I don't whack my camera. Once you grabbed in, just tighten it up. It's hard with the camera only an inch away or 2 inches away to wrap. That got a little too thick there. I do want to build up a bit of a thorax, but I don't want to bump, right? So just a tiny bit more of the dubbing. Really like this ice dub. It's nice. It's like I said, I use it for other patterns where I want that real leggy stuff, long legs. But in this case, I don't want it, but I want that scruffiness, right? So just get that right in behind there. That's good. So now I'll take my rib, one right at the back end. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put in the little tinsel. That's just fine. I tie them both ways, right? So actually, that's a little bit. Space that out a bit. I do tie them both ways. The one I showed you guys doesn't have it, so open that up a bit. Yeah, there we go. And one more right there. Make sure that's secured. You can come in and cut away your tinsel. There you go, and if you've got any of these really long stragglers like this, you can just go in there and just nip them off. There you go. Make sure that stays there. So now, if you guys have never used this stuff before, this artificial jungle cock, it's kind of cool. I haven't been using it for very long, but so far it's kind of cool. We'll have to see how it stands up to the fish. So yeah, it's just on a little card here, so you just got to get in there with your fingernail, your bodkin, or whatever you've got, and just get it off. And so that's what you end up with, right? So now you just lay it in to whatever side you want it on, right? So this works well for this. It works even better for one that you're going to coat, because then this is it's a little sticky, right? So you can coat the whole thing here. So now I just want a bit of that orange showing, right? I don't want a huge long eye there. Yeah, see, just like that. That's all I want. So now I'll go get another one off. Like I said, I haven't been using these for too long, so I'll have to test them actually test them against fish and see how they hold up. I suspect that they'll definitely be better in a coated version, just a regular chironomid style or buzzer style, that where they won't stay exposed like this. But you never know. I might be wrong. So okay, so that's a few turns there. I'm just gonna get in there and just nip off that little excess piece. Don't have to get it all because I can tie it. I'll get that when I go back here now and do a few more thread wraps. So, all right. So now I'm just gonna hold those down. Do a few more wraps behind. Get a couple of wraps right there. 2. Again, flatten out your thread here so you don't cut your foam. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my Sally Hansen's. Just wipe it off so you don't got a big gob of it coming on. You just want a little bit onto your thread. Move your Sally Hansen's out of the way with the lid off, because I knocked it over a couple of days ago while filming a video. So 4 or 5 turn whip finish right behind there. You can go underneath there if you want to do the whip finish. I just I find that it works really well there, and it's a little easier to nip off your thread. Just make sure this is all looking decent and they're all sitting where you need to have them sitting. And that is your fly. Really simple pattern, super effective. Obviously fished on a floating line. Depending if you can, in your area where you are, if you can use multiple rigs, then you'll fish it differently. Obviously, if you can use multiple flies. In BC, where I do most of my fishing, and where I've done most of my fishing, we're only allowed one fly. So this just would be on a floating line, just right subsurface there. It would just sit right on the surface and just hang down. And that's why, like I said, having a couple of, let's just see if I can show you guys, a couple of pieces of tinsel like this, just hanging off the back end like that, just like really small one, really short like that. It looks like almost like a spent casing, right? So, or the start of a spent casing. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a fairly easy pattern to tie. I like using these mirror flashes and stuff like that, because they'll have that UV property and they'll pick up that light. If you don't have these artificial jungle cock, use the real ones. The real ones are probably better in this case because you're not coating it. It's just really tough with the jungle cock in this size is a bugger to use. But I tell you, if for the coated fly, I'll actually do probably one of my next videos. I'll do another chironomid with these another buzzer. But I'll use these ones because, like I said, they're sticky and you can get them right in there, and then you coat them with your UV, and I think they're going to look fantastic. So, like I said, I'll have to see how they hold up to fish like this, and we'll go from there. So if you like that, give that a thumbs up. If you've subscribed already, thank you very much. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. Smash that notification bell. Share with your friends, and let me know what you guys want to see. Alrighty? Stay safe, everybody. Tight lines.